Well, hello everyone. We are at Lake Oconee today for our first podcast in my neck of the woods. I have the honor of interviewing one of our industry veterans, Byron Hunt. Byron retired within the past year from Beck Industrial, maker of concrete mixers. We've been friends for nearly 25 years, and now we are literally neighbors. His lake house is less than 10 minutes from my place in the woods. Byron, please dive in and tell us your story.
Well, Bill, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate this, and I'm humbled and honored knowing that some of the people that you've interviewed, and I really appreciate it. But I guess I'll start at the beginning.
Yes.
I was born and raised in Cedartown, Georgia, and grew up there, graduated high school there. My family, my dad owned the hometown grocery store.
Oh, okay.
And he and my uncle owned this. And so we were just like a lot of small towns or mill villages. We had a lot of mills in Cedartown, and we served those people. We had a Goodyear plant and a Rome Plow, Honda Industries, different places like that. So I grew up working in the grocery business. And needless to say, that's a confining business, and you don't get Saturdays or Sundays off in that business.
Let me pause you real quick.
Yeah.
For people listening who might not know where Cedartown is, tell us where it is.
If you know where Rome, Georgia is.
Yes.
Cedartown is 18 miles south of Rome.
Yeah.
And it's in Polk County, Georgia, 13 miles from the Alabama line. So that was home.
So that's above Tallapoosa for
Yep.
the Wayne Davis
Yep.
folks listening.
Yep, that's right. That's right. You got Haralson County, and then Polk County, where Cedartown is, and then Floyd County, where Rome is.
Got you. Okay, keep going.
Well, as I said, I grew up working in the family business. My granddad actually started Hunt Supermarket in the 20s.
Oh, my.
In Cedartown. And then my granddad passed early in life. And so my dad was just getting out of high school when he started running the store with his older brother and his mom. And so I got treated the same way. I got to grow up in the grocery business.
Now, did y'all have the butcher shop?
Yeah.
The whole...
Oh yeah, we had a butcher shop, produce, and so forth. I still know how to cut up a fried chicken. I can still do it. But yeah, we made our own sausage. We made, grind up the hamburger meat. It was interesting growing up, and but my dad made sure I was there. I started going on Saturdays when I was 8, 9 years old.
Right.
To the store.
Now, what was your hobbies and pastimes when you weren't working at the grocery store? What were you up to?
Like a lot of guys in small towns, I played football and baseball, and started in the midget football league, they called it back then, Pee Wee baseball all the way through high school. Those were pretty much my hobbies, sports.
Now, refresh my memory, the ready mix producer in that part of the world, his name escapes me. I should have thought about this. Do you remember who?
Are you talking about Basic Ready Mix?
No, not Basic.
Or Wayne Davis Concrete?
No. It's I thought he was there. I'm trying to think of the man's name.
In Cedartown?
Yes.
Wayne Davis bought him out. That was Charles Fortune.
Okay.
Was a guy's name that was in Cedartown years ago, and then Wayne Davis or Basic. Wait a minute, one of them bought him out. I'm trying to remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Wayne Davis opened up in Rockmart. Anyway, Richard would correct me.
Yeah, Richard will help. Refresh our memory on that.
Yeah.
Well, since we're talking ready mix, tell us how you found your way into ready mix.
I actually, I graduated from Jacksonville State University, which is less than an hour from Cedartown. So that was the school I graduated from, and I majored in business and marketing management. And I knew I wanted to sell. I felt like I could I could sell something. So you and I both are old enough to remember you answered ads in the paper.
Yes.
Atlanta
Yes.
Journal-Constitution.
Yes. That's it.
McNeilus had run an ad in the paper wanting to expand their sales team. They were in 7 different places around the country,
Right.
but they wanted to expand their team. I answered the ad, had 2 or 3 interviews with what then was the branch manager in Villa Rica, where McNeilus was. And I guess I tricked him into buying me a plane ticket and sending me up to Minnesota to interview with Garwin McNeilus.
What about that?
And that's how I got it.
What year was that? You
1982. 82. I got in the business. I just graduated college. They hired me. He hired me and said McNeilus had a boot camp. They called it a boot camp. Every salesperson had to go through boot camp and learn the mixer from the ground up. Wow. So I spent a month in Dodge Center, Minnesota. And then one day, over the loudspeaker, they decide, come to Garwin McNeilus's office. Called me, come to his office. And I sat down with him. He said, Byron, we're going to send you to Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
So that's where I started my career in the ready mix business, was Dallas.
Now, were you married at that time?
No.
Okay.
I was not. And I had not met Nancy, my wife. We met in 86.
Okay.
When I got back to Georgia, when we met. It was 86. But I spent my first 4 years working in Dallas and then briefly in Los Angeles. I went out there for 6 months. They asked me to go out there, and I decided I didn't like California. I said, I got to get back to Georgia.
So you did your boot camp for a month.
Yep.
And then you were assigned to sales in Texas. Just take a second. You know, Garwin is such a legend in the industry. Anything that comes to mind about him that you remember that really stands out about his character, about his style, and what maybe contributed to his success?
He's very driven man. He loves work. He actually enjoys.
He loves to work.
He loves to work, and he loves the factory. And I call Garwin a manufacturing genius.
Yes.
I mean, he did things totally different in the industry than anybody else. He would build and design his own fixed jigs and fixtures and so forth. And he had an engineering team specifically to do something. And I kind of kidding call him an efficiency junkie. He was always looking to take a 3-man job and make it a 2-man job.
Interesting.
And figuring out how to take man hours out of the product. So, and he did it. And matter of fact, he continues to help out Contact. His grandson is part of Contact.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all
about that. He's a competitor of ours, but
yeah.
Garwin was like, he's close to 90 now. He's in his late 80s.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you spent how long in Texas?
4 years.
4 years. And
4 years.
What got you back to Georgia?
Well, what got me back to Georgia, and a lot of people might not know this, but they had sent me to California.
Okay.
And I decided I didn't like it. And my father had passed away early in life, at 47 years old.
Yes.
And my mother remarried a year and a half later, and she married a man in Douglas County, and he had been in the hardware business, he had been in the sand business, and my brother was just getting out of college, and he had the idea of us opening up a masonry supply business.
Okay.
So I moved back to Georgia, left McNeilus, left them on good terms.
Yes.
Moved back to Georgia to help my brother and my stepfather open up a business called Sandstone. That my brother, we recently sold the Douglasville property, but we still have a place in Carrollton to this day. My brother still runs that place.
No kidding.
We sell brick, sand, mortar, natural stone, manufactured stone, or whatever. But I did that for 4 years with my brother. Then one day, McNeilus came calling back.
Yes.
And they were looking for the southeastern branch manager in Villa Rica.
Yes.
And I had just recently gotten married, and thought about it, talked to my brother about it. I ended up going back to McNeilus in '89 to run the Georgia facility there. So that's kind of how I ended up back in the business.
Yes.
Just hadn't looked back.
Yes. Now, when you came there, was Kerry there?
Kerry was just out
Kerry
of school.
Miller.
Yeah, Kerry Miller was there. He, the former branch manager, had hired Kerry, and Kerry was young. Kerry was. I mean, so I inherited that team of Steve Cleghorn,
yes,
Julius Parrish,
yes,
Kerry Miller, and some other folks that I worked with, and that team was there already.
What a great team!
It was a great team. It was a blessing. Good people to work with.
And at that time, the ready mix was on the rise. It was steadily climbing. The residential growth in Metro Atlanta was well underway.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a lot of work to do.
Yes. And it was really, we covered out of that office. McNeilus covered 8 states out of that office.
Wow.
All the way to Virginia, down to Florida, over to Mississippi. And guys were like Julius and Steve, and they were traveling, so forth. And I did a lot of traveling too. So
what at that time, Byron, what took place in Villa Rica for McNeilus? What was it? Strictly support and parts, or you know what I'm saying? What went on there?
We obviously it was parts and service, but we installed mixers there. We actually assembled the mixers there at the Georgia facility.
Yes.
That stopped. I believe that stopped after Oshkosh bought McNeilus back in '98. I think it was
98. Oshkosh bought McNeilus, and you're saying at that time the mounting and such.
I think it ended at some. Well, I think maybe they did it on into the 2000s. Kerry probably have to correct me, but on into the 2000s. But at some point they decided not to do it any longer. I can't remember what year that was.
And I'm trying to remember, because back in the old Fulton Concrete days, we did a lot of business with you guys.
Yep.
And was there any fabrication there? I'm trying to.
Not really fabrication.
No.
Now, later on, after I was no longer with them, Oshkosh did build drums at another location there in Villa Rica.
Okay.
They did build the replacement drum.
That's what I'm thinking.
You're probably remembering that. They did that for several years at a different location.
Yes.
And I was a competitor by that time.
Well, tell us about that transition a little bit.
Well, I was with McNeilus when Oshkosh bought McNeilus, and I was there a couple of years.
Yes.
And I enjoyed working for the family-owned companies.
Yes.
I enjoyed that. And so Continental Mixer Company out of Houston was kind of the up-and-coming company at that time. And so they were kind of recruiting me to come out. So I decided to go back in that business. And I worked out of my house. I traveled to Southeast for Continental.
What year would that have been?
From 2001. And then they sold to Navistar, which is International Truck Corporation, in 2009. And I worked for Navistar for 3 years until the end of 2012.
Okay.
And then January 1 of 2013 is when I went to work for the Beck family.
Okay. Wow.
So I spent 40 plus years in this business, and not everybody gets to do that and do the same type of work.
Yes.
So it was been rewarding, and I've been really blessed that the 3 companies I worked for were on the rise.
Yes.
And I got to ride the wave in all 3 companies as they were growing, and so it made it really fun.
What when you came to Beck, you said that was January of 2013?
Yes.
January of 2013. So what was attractive, if you can remember, what were you intrigued or attracted by at Beck?
Well, really, Frank Beck, he's probably one of the best salespeople I've ever met. He's smooth. He was coming after me, to go to work for us, I said yes, because what he had told me was, and I knew, with a company like that, they wanted to do things right. They wanted to do it right. And one of the things Frank told me when he hired me, he says, "Look, our manufacturing capability is greater today than our assembly capability is.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to have to find a place to assemble mixers." And so I went looking. I knew where a truck shop was there in Douglasville, probably 3-4 miles from my house, and made arrangements. We originally leased it, and turned that into a mixer mounting facility, and then the Beck family bought it like a year later, and so it's still active today there in Douglasville, and that's where Beck mounts most of their southeastern mixers, right there.
So at that time, when you came on in 13, how much, and I'm looking for an exact number, but market share wise, just generally, where do you think Beck was then in the Southeast?
Oh, in the Southeast, we had very few, very little in 13, and
so in 13, who would you say was the that had the greater, just roughly, just who was the bigger player at that time? I can't remember.
Well, I see. I would say McNeilus was probably
still
the biggest. But I mentioned Contec earlier.
Yes,
they were coming on.
And
and we were coming on too. And we've done well. I still say we.
Yeah, of course.
And we've done well in the Southeast. And you know what? And what I attribute it to is just customers, like, following, you sell one customer, and then somebody says, "Well, I see you bought Beck mixers. Why'd you do that?"
Yes.
Why'd you do that? And then I learned a long time ago in this business, if you take care of your customers, they'll sell the product for you.
Yes.
I used to tell Frank, I said, I'm not a very good salesperson. I just get my customers to sell it for me. And it worked.
So all these years you stayed in this industry, what kept you there, do you think? What do you think, as you reflect on it, was most enjoyable? What did you enjoy? What gratified you and kept you for 40 years?
The people. Like I said, my customers and people, they became friends. A lot of them became friends, a lot of them, and I just enjoyed that part of it, being around the people, around the industry. And it was nice to, really learn the business from my customers. They taught me.
They taught you, didn't they?
Yeah. A wise man told me when I was 22 and I went to Texas, and he was my boss out there, and he told me, he said, "Let your customers train you, and then they'll think you're the smartest guy in the world because they trained you."
Yes.
That was the advice he gave me.
No, that's great advice. That's a good little story, and it makes perfect sense. What would you say, again, looking back, what would, if we had 4 or 5, good solid customers, concrete companies, what would you think they would agree on, or that when they consider a new mixer, what is of utmost importance? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
in
sir.
other words, when they're looking, everybody, of course, price, we know, that it matters, but what matters to a concrete company when they're looking at, they've got options, they've got some good options.
Yes, absolutely.
So what would you say?
I think when I first got into this business, the big questions were, how fast would the mixer load? How fast would it discharge low slump concrete? What about your wear capability and so forth? Well, now, fast forward, in recent years, that's a given. You better be able to, all that's just a given. You better be able to do it. But I think the most important thing that they're looking for is trust. They want to trust that you're going to be there for them when you have a problem. Equipment's going to have a problem.
Yeah.
I don't care. And they want to know that you're going to be there and you're going to take care of them. But the other thing too is we've seen in recent years is I used to go in a room and do a presentation, and most of the time it was an operations person I was selling to, or a fleet manager and so on. Now, as these companies, the consolidated and the larger companies, there's a safety director sitting in the room.
Interesting. Yes.
So they want to know about safety. They want to know, what are you doing now to make it safer, from everything from the ladders to lighting to, taking as much out of the driver's hands as possible, and automation and so forth. So it changed a lot in that respect.
Well, and it's funny you say that, because in many of these podcasts, no surprise, that theme of safety has come up over and over and over again, how dramatically different, even when I feel like I'm a newcomer, 25 years, but 25 years ago, I mean, it's come a long way. And there's, to your point, there's just, so that doesn't surprise me to hear that. And, well, let me ask you, this is a good segue into the question about looking back, some of the notable, I don't know if breakthrough is the right word, but kind of evolutions or progressive. You mentioned the wear, but what, the wear resistance and so on. But what if you look back and said, this was a big jump, in the quality, but kind of the timeline of the development of the concrete mixer? I think it seemed like I never saw one or saw one operating, but there were chains that but talk a little bit about that, if you could, the technical and the manufacturing. And
I was going to mention that in 1982, when I got in this business, there were literally still chain drive mixers out there.
Right.
And there were 10 different manufacturers in 82 when I got in the business. And McNeilus had only been building mixers about 5 years. A lot of people may not know that Garwin McNeilus was a Smith dealer, Smith mixer.
Did not know that.
Before
he was a Smith mixer dealer before he
built his own mixer. And I think he built his first mixer in 76.
Okay.
And I came to work in 82.
Right.
And we were one of 10 different manufacturers. And like I said, you had the chain drive, and then we evolved into hydraulic, better hydraulics, gearboxes. They changed on the mixer, quality of steel.
When do you think the chain virtually all but disappeared? Roughly? When do you think that was?
It was in the 80s.
In the 80s.
Yeah, it was in the early 80s when it happened. But people were still running them. And so I remember we sold that chain. We sold the chain in the parts department,
That's funny.
But yeah, it's evolved.
What else? And talk a little more on that, the evolving. Of course, you talked about the abrasion resistance, I guess, as the materials advanced and such, and different alloys, I guess, you were able to. But that was a big deal, right, for customers?
Yep.
How long is it going to last?
Oh, yeah. And, but I think back on safety,
yes,
one of the things is a dramatic change in the Beck family really pushed this automation as far as slowing the drum. Everything you got a computer on the truck.
Yes,
you tie into that computer, and so the mixer is designed to do certain functions. When say the automatic transmission is another thing. It just
right.
Now, there's nobody that can drive a stick shift, a manual. But that is a big thing where when the truck hits third gear,
yes,
the mixer is designed to do certain things like slow down the drum, which helps make it more stable.
Yes.
It helps with the wear or better wear.
Yes.
And the capable. And then say the driver left his work light, early morning pour.
Yes.
He's left his work lights on. Hits third gear, they go off.
Yes.
And the hopper on the back, the swing up hopper.
Yes.
You see them going down the road all the time, and they got the driver has forgot to lower them. Well, it automatically come down.
How about that?
And it won't go into discharge once it hits third gear. So you won't spill concrete going down the road. There's just so many, and that's really in the last 10, 12 years.
That's fairly recent.
Yes.
That these interlocks and special features like that are, no, that's really good. That's very, very helpful. It just popped into my head. We at Fulton rolled the dice with the what was it called? The plastic.
Oh yeah.
What was that called?
Revolution.
Was it a Revolution?
Yeah, that's what the name
of that plastic.
Yeah, that's what they named it.
It was. We actually toured the factory where they made it. They had a PhD from DuPont.
Oh yeah,
remember him?
Well, I wasn't. I was a competitor by then.
Right. No, that's right. But yeah, Terry Miller took us through, and I can't think of the man's name, but they brought in a scientist on that to design those, and it was a great theory. And we ran. I think we bought 2 of them.
Right.
And anyway, it didn't. I don't guess it ever. It really didn't.
It never. I don't believe they really ever got it 100%.
Yeah.
And as a competitor, I was thankful.
You were happy.
I was thankful
because it could be
because it could have been a game changer.
Yes.
If it worked, it could have been a game changer. But I don't think. I think the product got put out there, and they were probably only 90% there, or maybe.
Yes. Let's see. And you've alluded to this a little bit, but talk a little bit about the over the years the people who really influenced you, your leadership style, maybe how you approach selling, but just in general, just the really particularly influential people in your career. And who were they, and what were some things? You mentioned the one earlier about that was a good one. Let the customer train you.
Well, first I'll mention my dad. I learned my work ethic from my dad, and you might want to even call him a workaholic.
Yeah.
He was constantly working. But there's 2 people I'm going to mention that probably nobody that's going to listen to this podcast are going to recognize. But number one, I was blessed to work with a lot of good people.
Sure.
In all the companies I was with. But the 2 that stood out was when I went to Dallas early on. There was a gentleman by the name, my boss, his name was Dave Henderson. He's the one that gave me that advice. But Dave was actually a minority stockholder in McNeilus. He owned like 5%. Garland had a few of those. People don't know that. He had a few of those early on. And Dave was from Minnesota. But Dave, at that time, we did something different in Texas with McNeilus. It was a separate corporation.
The Texas operation.
The Texas operation was a separate corporation from the rest of McNeilus. So we did all of our payables and receivables and so forth. And early on, Dave took me under his wing, and he had me traveling everywhere. He had me approving bills.
Wow.
He signing checks.
Wow.
And I was 22 years old,
wow.
23 years old. And he gave me a really, really good education.
Yes.
The other person there was a guy named, perfect Texas name, Johnny Winchester. Johnny Winchester.
Johnny Winchester. You can't make this up.
Johnny had worked his way up, and they were back. Let me back up. That location that McNeilus owned was a Smith dealer. At the same time, Garland was a Smith dealer in Minnesota, and they had bought, and they had when Garland went to become a Smith dealer, Johnny Winchester was sent to Minnesota to show Garland how to mount his first mixer.
No kidding.
And Johnny was not an educated man, but he's one of the smartest people I've ever around. Johnny was known in Dallas. If you needed an opinion on how something worked or should work, or if you wanted to buy a used truck, or you want to buy a new truck, or they called Johnny. Yeah. And I would sit in Johnny's office and just like a sponge.
Yes.
He didn't know he was teaching me, but he was teaching me. And I'd find time almost, if I was in the office during the day, just sit in his office and just listen. And I learned so much from both of those guys.
Well, and to your point, and as you were talking, it made me reflect and back to my 20s and as a young engineer, and you really are a sponge then, aren't you? You're thinking about, building your career, you're starting a family, and I don't know, it's like you have this intuition, hey, I need to learn. Mm-hmm. I need to know what's going on.
Yes.
And so I get it. That's a great.
I didn't know the difference between cement and concrete when I started to build.
Hey, listen, there are a lot of people in this business that still haven't figured that out yet. So anyway, so let's change gears a little bit and talk about the GRMCA and the association. I know you've been involved over the years, and again, you were a great supporter, with our sponsorships and so on. You guys have been very, very supportive. But I'd love to hear any of your thoughts on the value, the benefits to our members who are involved with the association.
Well, I mean, everything, iron sharpens iron, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, just to be able to be there to learn from the ready-mix producers, but just the seminars, the people, the speakers, I mean, from the lobbyists to anybody, the economic,
Raji,
and
John Hunt.
John Hunt. Yeah. I mean, I always enjoyed.
No kin to you.
No kin to me. He's smarter than I am. But anyway, I enjoyed all of that, and I enjoyed. I'm members to a lot of the Ready Mix Association, so it was a value in every state that we, you learn just from your customers, just being involved, get involved, and I always had this saying that, what matters most to me is what matters to my customers.
Yes,
if it matters to my customer, then it matters to me. And I know all the producers that are members of the Ready Mix Association, it's important to them.
Yes.
So it's important to me.
That's a great way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. You are retired.
I am. July 31st made a year, Bill.
I knew it was. I was close to when I said it in the last year.
Yeah.
Approximate year. Because you were at the summer meeting last year.
Yeah, that's right.
So now I've got a couple of more quick questions, but one is, how are you occupying yourself in retirement?
Well, I bought a boat.
And by the way, we are sitting in looking out over a nice cove here at Byron's Lake House, which I mentioned is truly less than 10 minutes from my little place in the woods, and it's a beautiful, beautiful place to be retired. So you've got your boat.
Got my boat. I've got 3 grandkids. I've got a 4.5-year-old, 2.5, and a 5-month. She's almost 6 months now. I'm a girl, boy, girl, and they get here a lot. My son-in-law, he travels, but he works remotely.
Yes,
and so he goes out there in my office out here and works. And
yes,
I take the kids out, and my wife does, and we enjoy that. But and I got a really close friend of mine that actually moved down here too.
Oh, okay.
He's in Harbor Club. He was my physician for 35 years.
Oh my!
We were in Sunday school together, and one daughter lives in Augusta, one's in Roswell. So anyway, he decided Lake Oconee was halfway in between, and so he spends a lot of time here too. He stores his boat right over there as well as I do. So
that?
we take turns going out. Sometimes I burn his gas, and sometimes he burns mine.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm thinking about picking a golf club up again. I haven't done that. I haven't played in a long time. But
that's awfully courageous.
I know. I think it was 2018 last time I played, or something like that.
Did you ever do any of the sporting clays or skeet or anything like
I've
that?
done it a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I rode out the other day. What's the farm out there going towards Sparta?
Old Hudson.
Yeah.
You went out to Old Hudson?
Yeah, I went out there to check it out. Yep.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I won't join you golfing, but I will absolutely join you, and we'll have to do this when it cools off. We'll go out to Old Hudson and shoot a round of clays.
You can give me some pointers.
I love shooting clays. Last question. I'm always interested to hear, especially from someone that's had such a long career, but for the new folks coming into our industry, regardless of what their assignment is, whether it's mixer sales or ready mix sales or running plants, but just general advice you would offer to people coming into our industry. Does anything come to mind?
I would say, as I've said, find a mentor or mentors.
Yes.
That some of these guys with gray hair got some wisdom, So learn from them and latch on.
That's a great point.
Yeah, latch on to them, and that's the best advice I was given.
And you took advantage of it.
I took advantage of it. I sure did.
Well, Byron, it's great to see you. It's been, gosh, I haven't seen you in probably a year, so it's good to reconnect. And now that we're neighbors, we can go shoot. We can go to the what's the restaurant up here? Is it Silver Moon? Silver Moon, and enjoy some good times. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm grateful that you were able to set aside your busy retirement and visit.
I worked you in my schedule.
Well, I know you did, and I'm grateful for it. And it's so good to get. I think people will really enjoy hearing this history of mixers. We couldn't do without the mixers. We have to have them.
Yep.
And so thank you again, and I wish you the best.
Thank you, Bill.